Was that lame? That may have been lame. I don't know. Maybe we keep it in. Hey, what's up? My name is Clint Turner. I run Learn.land and Away Land Company. We've done over 600 land deals in the last 6 years. Hey, look, I love making some of these videos, helping you guys grow your business. Today, we are cutting out a piece of content that we did in our Facebook group. If you're not in our Facebook group, I would highly suggest going over there. We'll make sure the link's in the description. We called this video the Yo-Yo Effect. So we talk about how in land, a lot of times we see people do this thing where you go from left to right to left to right, where you're working on finding properties and then all your energy is going to sell, and then it's going to find and going to sell. And it doesn't feel like there's consistency there. So in this Facebook Live, we talk a little bit about what some of the common problems for that are, how we would go about fixing them, and all sorts of other good stuff. I think you'll get a lot of value on the call, at least if you stay till the end. Also, my buddy Kyle is on there. He works with us here at Learn Land. He's an amazing investor, coach, and just a good guy to know. So hope you guys will go follow him as well. Hey, again, if you get value from these videos, we really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the like button, if you leave us a comment. Also, will you tell me if you like these style of videos in general? We make a lot of content in our day-to-day business, so this is a little more of the behind the scenes, some of the stuff you may not always see in different places. We're going to be including calls from our mastermind and little snippets and all sorts of great things. So let me know in the comments if you like this style of video so that we keep making more of them. Otherwise, hope this training serves you. Hope it helps. We'll see you in the next one.
Kyle, tell me, what is the land yo-yo? What are we talking about today?
The land yo-yo is the pull that you feel from acquisitions to sales and marketing, back to acquisitions to sales and marketing. When you don't have your stuff straight, when you don't have your stuff in order, it seems like you spend all your time on one, and then you got to spend all your time on the other, and one falls by the wayside. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, I went through this for forever. I mean, I think we all do still at some point in our business, but it's just that continual grind of like, oh, I have deals. Now I have to go sell them. And then, oh, wait, I have no deals. Now I have to go find them. It's the process of staying consistent to that. So for quick hitters, what do we have? What holds people back on that?
You know, some of the big things are if you're just a one-man show, if you're the only person in the shop, you know, you're doing all the mailing, you're doing the pricing, you're sending it, comping it, closing it, you know, you're doing everything. Then if you send out a bunch of mail at once, you've got all these leads coming in, you're trying to get them closed. You don't have time to do anything else, right? So you're just trying to get things closed. And then all of a sudden, boom, you've got 10, 12 properties in your inventory. You're out of money. You're like, well, crap, I got to go sell some of this stuff. Right. So we've talked to some people who had, 20 properties in their inventory and they don't have time to sell them.
Yeah, that's the worst. And, in my business, we have multiple employees, and both of those things we just talked about, like talking to people and comping leads and like running deals as they come in, and marketing and sales and dispositions, those are filled by like 40-hour a week people. Like those are full-time jobs. So it's tough. I mean, it really is challenging. I have my big thing that I think a lot of people overlook. What is one of your big oh, no, I'm asking you first. Oh. What is one of your things that you think that, like, how do you get past the yo-yo? Because everybody does this, right? You go out, especially as you're starting, you send a little bit of mail, you get a deal, you go sell it, and it gets a little bigger and bigger. And now you got this huge pendulum swinging. That's where most people get stuck, right? How do you get past it?
I think you need to remember a couple of different things, and just take a look at your own business. I think a lot of the work and the mental energy for most people goes into acquisitions. A lot of times the sales and the marketing, if you've got things in place, properties will sell. It's not necessarily you're having to look at all these intricate details and do due diligence. So people spend most of their mental energy on acquisitions, and you can't let up on that, right? If you want to avoid the yo-yo effect, you've always got to be sending mail no matter what, because even if it seems like you're accumulating a bunch of inventory, a bunch of properties, it's a lot easier, I think, to sell property than it is to buy it. So don't stop buying.
Yeah, property sales is a checklist, is what I tell people. Like land, in my opinion, is like gold and silver. Like you put on the market, it's going to sell, right?
Yeah.
Land is an asset people want. People put a lot of thought about how do I need to sell? How do I need to market? And don't get me wrong, like there are some cool tricks you can do to increase your marketing. By the way, if you're watching on Facebook, my phone's dead, so I can't see if you're there or not. So hope you're watching. Hope it's going well for you. But yeah, the marketing is easier. I've seen some of the people like who just come out of the gates, took a course, randomly bought a property, have no idea what they're doing, throw it up and it sells, right? Yeah. Because there's no real meat behind it. Put it on all the websites, people call you, you close it. Where the brain power goes in is the acquisitions. And when you're not consistent, on the acquisitions, and it's like everybody knows it, right? If you don't send the mail, if you don't do the ads, like how are you going to get the deals in?
Yep. Yeah, I think another thing that can help you out is having systems in place. Marketing systems are good, and having the checklists are great that you can give to a VA to do this and that. I think people kind of sleep on the acquisitions systems. There's a lot of tools that you can use to make your intake, your due diligence, your closing go faster, so that you basically want to remove decision making out of your brain as much as you can for little mundane decisions that eat away at your focus capabilities, right? So you can quadruple your output capabilities by a few easy systems to put in place, and maybe one or two VAs on the acquisition side. You can quadruple what you're doing because you don't have to make as many mundane decisions every single day.
Yeah, I sat down with my acquisitions team this morning at about 3 hours ago, and through what we were doing, and it's not rocket science. I just kind of teach them how we go through and find pockets of areas to mail and how to pull stuff off data tree. I mean, it's not like, again, I tell people all the time, we are not that smart. We are not like that smart at land investing. That's why we do land investing. It's the easiest one, I think. But I sat down, and in an hour, we knocked out three mailers, 15, 12,000 mailers or so, because there's a lot of mundane, nuanced, repetitive work that goes in, and there's a small amount of like the real creative art, if you will, that goes behind it.
Yeah.
So creating consistency is what we're all about. When you're inconsistent is when the yo-yo swings. That's when the pendulum starts going. One thing that a lot of groups and a lot of gurus or whatever you can say don't talk about, I think, and one thing that it's kind of two things, but it really boils down to one is funding. I think funding is a big problem because people look and they say, hey, look, I got 20 grand, 10 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever in my bank account. I'm limited. Like I got to spend 5,000 of that on mailers and like 5,000 of that on like business systems and then 40,000 of that on land, right? And that small budget for really acquisitions and mailing is a mindset block. I have X amount of money. I can only spend X percent. So one thing that we do a lot, and that I encourage anybody, like if you're trying to grow $1 million land business, something that you can see in 12, 24, 36 months where you made $1 million, you have to have how much capital?
I'm going to put it at between 200 and 250. Easy.
Yeah, at least 200 and 250. As land prices are going up, it's getting harder to acquire. We're having to offer more, having to do more creative negotiations. You've got to have that bank of cash, because if you don't have that bank of cash, you can't stay consistent in your marketing. It's like if you think about the people who someone asked me like the other day, we were talking about why does direct mail work, and it's like, well, because people open it. People open it. You put it in front of them. It just takes consistently doing that. But in my opinion, I think the most expensive marketing method really is direct mail. And so that when you don't have the funding lined up, when you don't have the right amount of money, the right partnerships, those kinds of things, then it ends up kind of mentally blocking you. You're like, well, how do I do what Clint says and get 10,000 mailers a month out, right? Because I say this all the time. We'll send 10,000 mailers and we won't get maybe we'll get a deal like a mailer saver, or maybe we'll get nothing. If I broke my mailers up, like say 100,000 mailers, I could almost guarantee you I could put 40, 50, 60,000 mailers, 70,000 mailers on one group of no response, no deal. And then a small percentage, 10, 20, 30,000 actually, had potential of providing a deal. So that's a huge bucket. And sometimes you just run bad,
Yeah. And I agree with the mindset block thing, because a lot of people they see the amount of mail that it takes to get consistent and good deals, and they look at their bank account and they say, there's no way that I can do that, because if I send one mailer and it doesn't give me any deals, then I'm sunk. And if I get one deal and that's the only deal I can afford, I've got to wait till I sell it before I can keep going. And so that's kind of where the yo-yo comes in too, is if you're thinking, I'm only going to buy deals that I have enough money for right now, I'm only going to send enough mail to where I can save enough money to buy more deals, smaller deals or whatever. You're just not going to get past that, because you're going to spend all your money on the 2 deals that come in from your mailer. And then you're going to spend the next 30, 60, 90 days trying to sell those before you do anything again. And ramping up your acquisitions is one of the most difficult things in the business to get going once you stop, right? Like if you've got property in your inventory, it's not hard to list it on a website to go market it on Facebook. But if you don't have any property in your inventory and you don't have anything in your pipeline, the time from sending mail to having something ready to sell, it's not overnight, right? It takes time, and you've got to consistently keep pumping it through, or you're going to be yo-yoing back and forth all the time.
One quick story, real life, happened yesterday to close us out. All right, 15 minutes. I told you we'd do it. Right?
Nice.
We had a really great, what month is this? This is June?
This is June right now.
We had a really great April as far as acquisitions was concerned. May through June has been average, like getting some deals, not as much as I'd hope. And we've sent probably about $25,000 worth of like marketing over those 2.5, 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Just yesterday, we had like one of those like deals that will shift the scales from like, wow, we've spent $20,000. Like you sit down and you open QuickBooks and you're like, how much did I pay Rocket Print? Right? Like I just got a $20,000 check. And yeah, we had a couple here and there deals. It wasn't just until yesterday when I talked with the oldest man I think that could feasibly complete a deal. This guy was sharp. I even made a joke. He was like 84. I was like, I don't know many 84-year-old men that can talk about these large portfolios of land like this guy. But the truth is we had spent $20,000 in mail. And there's a few deals that were laying around in there that we'll probably like at least make our money back, maybe make a little more, but it's not these big returns everybody's talking about. And it was over that course of the last 2.5 months, $27,000 that it happened, that the big deal came through. So, the challenge for people, and that's why I talk about funding a lot. Whenever you work with me, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to put together a funding plan, because I don't care what anybody tells you, unless you are like cold calling and texting, which still has a cost, which still has a pretty expensive cost attached to it. Not as much as mail, still has a cost. Unless you are like picking your phone up and like individually skip tracing each number, it costs to market. So if you don't have the capital and then a plan for the capital to put to work as far as advertising goes, that's the biggest cause of the yo-yo. And that is what we do. All right, 15 minutes, Kyle. We did it. Anything else?
Nice. I mean, I could keep going, but you want to keep it to 15 minutes. So let's keep it to 15 minutes.
Yeah. You got any deals you're working on?
Yeah, I've got a couple of really promising ones in Texas. But the guy is snail mail only, which is fine. Some of the best deals that I picked up were snail mail only. The guy calls and says, "Hey, I don't have an email address. Mail me an offer." And okay, I don't have a problem doing that. Some people won't because you have to lick a stamp and whatnot. But I have no problem sending an offer on a $80,000 property that's probably worth close to $200,000. So
wow,
I hope that one turns out.
Yeah, that one turns out too. I don't know if we have some deals we're working on. One thing I'm interested on, and if anybody watches this or if you know anything, we're looking at some deals that have some, I could go into exactly what it is, but like large pieces of land, things like 160, 320 acres. And they have a couple different like pads where there's some like, mineral activity going on. And the exact process they're doing isn't super surface intensive, so it's not huge drill rigs. And it's a beautiful property. I'd love to buy this thing and cut it up into 40 acres and go sell it. But like, I don't know what the ramification of having those pads are. But like, do you just cut that area out? Is it going to be lease specific, like with the actual gas company that's doing it?
I am an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. I'm a recovering attorney.
Yeah.
But the little experience I have with that, I think it depends on what's exactly the big thing I would be concerned about is underground storage tanks. If they got anything storing anything underground, that's what's going to need to be remediated. The surface stuff, I think you have to get it capped and signed off on by TCEQ. The
Like,
Texas Commission.
well, it's not Texas, it's Colorado.
Then I have no idea.
You just like not use that part of the property and just use the rest? I don't know. Do you know what coal steam gasification is?
No.
I do now. Now I do.
I could put it together: coal and steam and gas. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. They pump a lot of steam down into the earth and into coal beds, and it pushes out all sorts of valuable gases. I don't know.
It's a good thing this isn't the oil and gas engineers Facebook Live, because then we'd really be getting some like hate comments. You guys have no idea what you're talking about.
You'd be getting torn up. They'd be like, "You're going to do what on top of that?" Problem?
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, man. That's all I got. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Hey, if anybody's interested, we got the links in this video. Hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy this video. Leave us a comment if you watch on the replay, and see you next time.
See ya.
Peace.